when you exist as a women's sports fan and as a person in women's sports, there's this like little club you're always a part of wherever you go. Everybody in the women's sports fandom knows that feeling. And I think that's why my videos are appreciated, because it's that thing of like, I've just created this online place where I can talk about what I love and have a bunch of friends to talk about it with.
Hi everyone, welcome to Teaming Up with Becky Sauerbrunn, brought to you by The Women's Game. I'm Becky, and this is a show where we meet people in and around the game of soccer, the leaders, the thinkers, the doers, and connect with who they are by talking about what they love and what they nerd out on. Today, we're teaming up with Coach Jackie J. She's a digital content creator, a strong voice for the LGBTQ+ community, and passionate women's sports fan, so much so that her unofficial tagline is, "I'm Coach Jackie J, and I love women's sports." Her love for playing soccer as a child opened the door to her finding her identity, her social media career, and a strong community of women's sports fans who respect and value her positive and inclusive approach to talking about why women's sports matter. You know when you meet a person and you just think to yourself, I am so glad that you exist? That's how I feel about Jackie. She's a champion for women's sports, for the LGBTQ+ community, for educational mediums like PBS, and she does it all with a sense of humor and wit that enthralls people. Whenever a video of her shows up on my feed, I am mesmerized because I know I'm going to be introduced to a new story, and I will be better for having known the challenges and triumphs this person has gone through. It's basically the feelings I want this podcast to invoke in you, the listener. And with Jackie J as a guiding light, I hope to succeed as she does. All right, everybody, here's Coach Jackie J. Coach Jackie J, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
I'm so excited. I feel very honored.
I want to get your take on the incredible summer that we've had in women's sports across the globe.
I mean, I'll just start by saying I'm overwhelmed. Like, I feel like it's more than ever that I wake up every day and I'm like, what am I going to talk about? There's like too much going on.
Yeah. What a great problem.
Yeah. I think that the Euros for me is like always one of my favorite tournaments. So I really enjoyed the Euros, enjoyed watching England do it again. I think that that's like a fun Chloe Kelly, I think from Arsenal to this, like an incredible story in women's sports that I don't think has been talked about enough. Like if we really start from what all happened, like to that like final penalty and then taking into account the last Euros, like that's a pretty awesome story.
It was awesome. And I'm so glad that you mentioned Arsenal because I am wearing my old school Arsenal kit because I know you are a big fan. I'm not surprised at all that your answers involve a lot of soccer. It sounds like your experience as a kid playing for a youth soccer club was really unique. You grew up in South Carolina, but lived in Germany for a few years because your parents were in the military. And Germany is where you first joined a soccer team, but the town where your family was living didn't have a girls team. So you were the only girl on the boys team. Yeah. I mean, how did that feel?
Yeah. Okay. Research. Come on. Yeah.
You'll be surprised here.
So it's interesting. At the time when I was living in Germany and 2009, I think is when I first got there, girls didn't really in the smaller towns, like there was one bigger city club that would have been the place I would have played on a girls team when I turned like 11, I think, or 12. That's when girls started playing club soccer in Germany when I was living there. To think that there are all the people that are pros now probably started playing organized soccer when they were about 12 is mind-blowing to me. I'm like, you had, and I'm granted a lot of them were probably on boys teams as well, but like it's not the experience you get playing with other girls. So I always think about that whenever I see the German team play. I'm like, wow, these are people who did not have the support, now it's obviously different. I hope so. But yeah, so I grew up playing with all boys. I remember I would always change in the referee's locker room. It was really hard for the boys to trust me and that I was blamed for a lot. I was a defender. And I remember like 4 years into doing it, my coach was like, the boys really trust you. Like they actually are okay when you go in. They used to not. And he was really straightforward. It's like they used to really be scared when you would go in, but now they're not scared anymore. And that meant a lot to me. So it was a very harrowing experience. I wanted to quit pretty much every day, but I didn't. And I stuck through it. And I'm so glad I did because it's the reason I love soccer so much.
Why did you stick through it? I mean, what was it about soccer where you would tell your parents, like, I want to keep playing no matter what?
Oh, I just loved it so much. I mean, I would come home from practice and I would kick a soccer ball against the wall for like hours. And like, I'm a big theater kid. I would sing like songs that I would make up about my day, and I would just talk to the wall and kick my ball. There was always soccer in the house growing up. My brothers and I, like, we just would have a ball at our feet everywhere. I remember when I was playing club in Germany, like in my town, and then I also played on base with the American kids. Like once in a while, they would have an organized American team. And I remember they would do like the things where they try to make the teams even. So you go and you do a tryout, and you would do like a run with the ball and a run without the ball, like a sprint, and they'd time you. And my sprint with the ball was faster. Like there's just something about like having a ball at your feet that made me so happy. And I distinctly remember that I almost quit, and my mom told me that that's given the boys what they want, and that teaches the boys a lesson that if they tease girls, that they will just quit things. And I think that's a really slippery slope, like to tell a kid that, because I think a kid should also know that like if you're really getting bullied, you can step away from a situation. But little me, I was like, feminism, you know, I'm like, I'm not teaching those boys that they can do this. And so I stuck through it. And I remember whenever I do anything wrong, my first day, they asked me if they wanted, like, what they wanted to call me, because I'm Jacqueline. And I said, Jackie's fine. And the coach introduced me to the boys and said, hey, everybody, this is Jacqueline. And I was like, oh, okay. And so every time I would do anything wrong, the boys would come up to me and they would go, Jacqueline! Like, it was always with the arms out and like, why? And it's so rough to be the girl and to also not be this German boy who's like come out of the womb playing soccer, so you're not as good. But yeah, I just love the sport. It's like, for me, it's the beautiful game. Like, I don't know. I'm biased, but I just love it.
You have said that seeing Abby Wambach on the field for the USWNT as a kid is what kind of made you feel seen. Seeing someone who is proud of their sexuality accomplish incredible things was really inspiring to you, and figuring out like how to be yourself. And soccer played a big role in making you who you are. And being a lesbian woman with a platform that promotes inclusivity is a huge factor in why your audience is as big as it is. Like, people really appreciate your authenticity. Can you take me back to the day you watched Abby play for the first time, and the emotions that you had witnessing her play, like realizing what she meant to you?
I mean, we gotta pause and be like, Becky probably on the field too when all this was happening. Like, watching you play too. Like, it's crazy to think that that's who I'm having this conversation with. So first of all, just naming that, because that's where I'm going in my head. I'm like, oh my God, not Becky asking me this question. I feel like 2011 was probably the World Cup that I first was like feeling a little bit gay. Like, you know, not even gay, but just different, you know, tomboy. And seeing someone with short hair. That's really all it is, right? Like, it's not that complicated. And I didn't grow up with my parents were never the kind of people where, you know, it was okay, cool to be gay, okay, maybe okay to be gay. And I'm not sure cool would be the way to go with it, but like, you know, inclusive, but you still feel like an outcast. Like, you still feel different. You still feel like, you know, I always say you still feel like maybe there are things in life that other people can do that you can't, because you feel different. And so for me, at that age, playing soccer with the German boys, because they had never met a girl who played soccer at my age, they would tell me every day, like, you could be pro, like, you're gonna be the best, you would be on the national team, because they were like, you're this girl who plays soccer. So I was like, you know what? Yes, I am. You know, I am gonna do that. And to see somebody who looked like me, or who looked like how I'd want to look as like a masked kind of lesbian, do something so incredible and score a goal for their country, I was like, oh, okay, I can do it too then. Like, easy. That's why representation is so important. And it's not more complicated than that for anybody in any kind of, you know, diaspora to see themselves and be able to do something excellent. That's really all it is.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. I think it's really inspiring for others to hear that soccer is where you found the courage to share your story and gave you the confidence now to amplify your LGBTQ plus stories. Is that a big motivation for you when you create your content, to provide your audience with that same inspiration?
It's the only motivation in a lot of ways. Like, I think a lot of people try and stray from saying, like, I don't only make women's sports content because I'm gay, or I don't only love women's sports because I'm gay. And like, I grew up loving sports and loving soccer, but I will say the only reason I do this every single day is because I'm gay and I love it, and I want to like share those stories and normalize them. And literally every time I post anything, it's like, would 10-year-old me enjoy this content? Love it. Post it. Like, that's about as complicated as it is. So it's not one of my motivations. I would pretty much say it's the motivation.
I was wondering if you ever curtail your content based off like audience engagement, or is it really just whatever you would want to have seen as a younger you?
It's definitely audience engagement, but I check it. I check it with the thing. Like if I am posting something that's just for audience engagement, I think to myself, oh, this isn't actually the person that I want to be online, then I wouldn't post it. But like I'm obsessed with social media as a game. You can make a story more, hit all these different points for different people. Like if little Jackie likes this part, what's the little girl who's different from me gonna take from this? Like make it as best for online as possible. I'm constantly thinking about that, and maybe in a way that's not healthy, but it is what it is.
I was so fortunate to meet you at the Athlete Ally Activism Summit that was hosted here in the Pacific Northwest back in June. And it's a really powerful event where college student athletes, coaches, administrators come together, talk about allyship, inclusivity in sport. And we were on a panel together about women's sports and political action. And I know I left the summit feeling like now, more than ever, those of us fortunate enough to have a platform have a weighty and amazing opportunity to use our voices to raise up the sports community and all its members, especially those in the LGBTQ plus community. I was only there for the first day. You were there for the entire time, and it's a multi-day event. I'm wondering, what did you feel leaving the event, knowing that your advocacy now had reached an even wider audience?
Yeah, that was my first time going. And what was really cool is I'm not all that older than a lot of the people there. Like I'm 23, so I graduated college just a couple years ago. And so there are people there who are about my age, who are these student athletes who like are about my age and also inspiring to me because I didn't do D1 sports. Like I did like club sports in college and I wanted to do that. Like that's so cool that they're doing that. So in a lot of ways, I looked up to those young like student athletes there on that level, not even on the queer level. I was just like, you guys are really awesome athletes. And so it was so awesome to be surrounded by people my age who were out and gay and queer and trans and athletes and super fun to talk to and interesting people. And for me, that was enough. Like I didn't even need the talks or anything, just these conversations I was having with people. Like it was so life-giving is like that feels cringy, but like it was like it did feel like I wanted to leave and I wanted to do something, anything. And I think that I always try and think of like, oh my God, what this platform does mean something. But even being there, the amount of people who came up and told me what my videos mean to them specifically, that always really gets me in a way that I don't usually think about. The thing that I loved the most was hearing from queer athletes and trans athletes and just hearing from them tell their stories. And I'm like, how can I share more of these stories in the most authentic way? Because as much as you can do educational content and almost like, I think I sometimes get a little bit upset and I'll try to like, give bullet points of why bigots should stop being bigots. I'm almost like, maybe that's too structured and maybe we just need to find more ways to let them tell their stories because that's what I took. Like, it wasn't, I think about this stuff all the time and listening to these athletes speak, there's so many new things that I feel like I learned.
Yeah, I mean, the stories, elevating them, I mean, it was a really powerful event. And I hope that I can go back in the years to come because I left that and just thinking like we really do have such a opportunity here to help elevate these voices. And I think so many people value your platform because you are addressing two underrepresented groups, women's sports and the LGBTQ plus community. And you often put a fun spin on why it's important to talk about them, like when you're assessing a player's game day fit. But you also bring attention to more upsetting stories, like when athletes and teams are struggling with unsafe working conditions or are coming up against divisive policies, like in the case of trans athletes being banned from sport. Why is it important to you to highlight and showcase both the positive and negative stories affecting these communities?
Women's sports is so interesting because everybody on the field knows what it's like to fight for their right to exist in a space that wasn't made for them. The best way to exist in that space is to demolish each other. Like there's a common goal in like, let's, we all know that we want to have equal pay and we want, human rights and we're fighting for social movements, but also to be taken seriously in this space, to have that, we have to really fight on the field and really fight on the court and whatever to put on a good performance and make a good product that is the sport that you're playing. And I think that connects back to your question that like, if you don't show the bad side of like the ways that women's sports is mistreated, you don't understand that commonality. Like you don't understand why women's sports is so special. Like here's a team that's going through so much and yet they get on the field and they fight anyway. And here's their opponent who totally, is going through something similar, who has what the other team wants. Like maybe the other federation is like really supportive of the team they're playing and they want to help that other team. But when they get in the field, they're going to fight and they're going to play a really hard game no matter what, because that's the ultimate sign of respect. And I think that that's how I respect women's sports in my coverage. It's talking about the wins, talking about the good things, but also never shying away from the ways that federations and clubs and, leagues can let players down and can let these athletes down, because I just want to be a voice for these players. And that's what makes women's sports interesting and complicated. And that's why I love it.
Do you have almost like a mathematical model about how you choose the balance between positive and negative? Or is it just really based on the story or the game that you're wanting to cover?
It's based on what's happening in the moment. I pretty much will always take up a fight if I think it's like an important one. I try not to do the Barbara Streisand effect, right? If something is happening where I think if I make a video, I'm just calling attention to an embarrassing thing for someone, or I'm calling attention to something that's like already been talked about, then I won't talk about it. That's also a rule I have in general. Like I get tagged as like a bigger women's sports creator in a lot of smaller women's sports creators videos. Then if it's something that I really, really feel like, or if I was already planning on making the video, I might reach out to them and say like, hey, I'm gonna make this video. Let me know if that's cool. And if you want to like give help or anything like that. Usually though, I'll just say, great video. It's already made. Like, I don't need to I'll repost the video. I don't need to remake a video just because you want to hear me talk about it. I agree with everything this person said. Like, if I don't agree or if I have anything to add, I'll make a video. But usually it's just if I can get there first to a thing that I care about, I'm going to talk about it. And that's pretty much it. I try also, and I don't think I do a very good job of this because sometimes I just feel like these days good news is important. But I also don't really love toxic positivity and like that kind of stuff, which I think I can kind of lean into like, and then I hit the music and you'll never believe what happened. But like, honestly, we need a little bit of like a lot of good news right now. So I don't feel too bad about it.
You do amazing job of crediting other journalists and content creators. And how does it feel to have the trust, like as a women's sports fan, of the women's sports fandom?
Insane. I mean, that's my favorite people in the world. So I feel so honored. I mean, that's for me, and you totally will get this unless something I like. When you exist as a women's sports fan and as a person in women's sports, there's this like little club you're always a part of wherever you go. If you meet somebody who knows it, you can talk to them forever. And and one of the things I always say is like, I think I'm pretty good at explaining women's sports because all my life I've been explaining women's sports. Everybody in the women's sports fandom knows that feeling. And I think that's why my videos are appreciated, because it's that thing of like, oh my God, thank you. I sent this to my friend because I don't want to have to explain this one to her, so you can explain it for me. And like, it's just like a bunch of friends. These are all people that in my life, if I would have met somebody who watches my videos, who likes women's sports, we would probably be friends. And so I've just created this online place where I can talk about what I love and have a bunch of friends to talk about it with. It's like perfect.
I'm going to take you back to your LSU days.
Yes.
So kind of the start of your social media journey on TikTok started when you were in college, making singing videos in your bathroom, doing impersonations of TV characters, interviewing people around campus. But your platform just really blew up during March Madness in 2023 when you took an inquisitive conversation between you and your roommate and turned it into the "Is she gay or does she just play women's basketball?" series. And I'm so lucky because I got to see you do a live version of this at the Athlete Ally Activism Summit. And the crowd response, I mean, people love these videos and your expert analysis. And I cackle every time I watch one of these videos, especially when your mom features.
Of course, love.
Oh, these videos blew up because you're playing on gender stereotypes while being respectful and relatable and hilarious. And as funny as they are, is there more to it than just comedy for you?
Oh, yeah. No, I think for sure. When I first started it, it was just like one of those classic, I think, queer things where it's like, this is a really good gay inside joke that other gay people will enjoy. And that's really just for the gays. And that's great. And since then, it's gotten a bit of a bigger audience. And Then I get to the fun part where it's like, and the kind of the meaning of it, where I think that it's really about calling things gay in a positive way. Like if I say, Becky, you know, the way you're wearing your headphones kind of situated in between your hair is kind of giving gay. And you don't have to be insulted by that, because that's just me making an observation, and a very silly observation. But it's still like, it's not like, oh, that's gay. And then it's like, hey, don't say that. You know, hey, that's not fair. I actually really like the way I have my headphones positioned. It's like, no, I'm not insulting you. And I think that I've gotten some responses where people think they get defensive and they're like, hey, wait, why did you call my shoes gay? It's like, hey, actually, it's totally cool. It's okay to be gay. And honestly, it's great. And I would much prefer for any item in my clothing to be called gay than straight. That's just me. But I think that's the way to kind of that's the subversive way of like looking at how we use gay as an adjective. And it's not that deep, but also it is important that it's not a big deal to say that your headphones are gay.
After you graduated from LSU in 2023, the Women's World Cup was about to begin, and you used the momentum from these videos you made in college to start making videos about soccer, your favorite sport, my favorite sport. You expanded your content to attract women's soccer fans while still serving your LGBTQ plus audience. Your video, Why You, a Gay Person, Should Watch the 2023 World Cup, was such a creative way for you to share the stories of LGBTQ plus soccer players. And you followed it up with a video called Everything You Need to Know Before the World Cup, where you translated the basics of the sport to that new following who maybe were very new to the sport. So your two passions were colliding in a really thoughtfully planned out way. How did it feel to you to merge the two communities?
It was awesome. I had, you know, when I first did the Is She Gay or She Just Coach Women's Basketball, I did those kind of man on the street interviews where I started guessing people's sexuality in the street. And I was like, oh, the part people are really loving about this is the gay parts, the gaydar part. Let me go on the street and use my gaydar in real life. And then that kind of ran its course, and the World Cup's coming up. And I was like, wait, I totally forgot that, like, the thing that because I was so excited for the World Cup. Like, I was clearing my schedule, whatever. And then at the same time, I'm thinking, oh, I was still making a video a day. I'm like, oh, what video should I make? And I'm like, wait, this is exactly, it's sports and it's gay. And this is what people liked. It wasn't just the gay part. It's the sports part too. And I know so much about this already, and I love it so much already. And so to do that, it was like the perfect best of both worlds that I could merge it together. I just knew a lot about it and was ready to talk about it. And yeah, it was awesome.
The videos about the World Cup, you were establishing a brand that confronted the elephant in the room, answering the question that everyone is always wondering: how can we bring more attention to women's soccer? And you weren't afraid to be frank with your audience, saying like, here's why you should care about this team or this player in your videos. And that approach really breathed new life into how people perceive women's sports. I think a lot of your rise in popularity comes back to your authenticity. It's always admirable for an audience to see people be unapologetically themselves online and be willing to share their relatable ideas. Has it always been easy for you to be yourself online? Are there ever nerves when it comes time to post a new video?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you said it like I started singing in my bathroom. I don't think anyone who posts singing videos online on purpose can and they're still up. Like, I don't think that anybody who does that can have nerves or anxiety about posting, like about being themselves. I have anxiety about posting sometimes if I'm doing a post that I feel like might make a certain group upset or is a little bit risky, but I don't have any qualms with being myself online. I mean, I love Mr. Rogers. Like, I don't know if this is a direct quote, but you know, the best thing you could ever be is being yourself. That's all you have, is being yourself. And, you know, individually, we're all very, very fancy, is I think what he says. And I love to think about that. It's like, you know, it's the coolest thing in the world, and it's the best gift you have to give is everything that makes you unique. And so I would never want to shy away from that. And I hope that I have that online, and that I'm glad that it feels like I am authentic, because I would never want to stray away from myself. I'm very big on the inner child. Like, I just want little me to enjoy stuff. So that's what I think about.
Your advocacy and allyship has an impact on every video you make, because you are spreading awareness and sharing joyful stories with a dominantly cisgender straight audience. As someone with the platform, your goal is to always impact your audience and leave them feeling a certain way. And I'm wondering, what are you trying to make people feel?
It's a good question. I'm trying to make people feel what I feel, I think, all the time. Isn't that what we all try and do? Like, you feel something and you're like, how can I make people understand why I care so much? And I think that's difficult. I think it's hard to balance trying to communicate your feeling without convincing, because I try not to convince. And so I think that I just want to show people how much I care, and also show people how much fun I have caring, and like how much joy it brings my life and purpose it brings into my life. And maybe that inspires them to care about anything. Like, I think I like people who care about very specific things a lot, whatever it is. That gives you a lot of joy in your life. So whatever, this is my thing, but if you like a different thing, that's cool. I'm just sharing my excitement. And I think that's what I want people to feel, my excitement.
Speaking of excitement and joy, when your mom pops up in your videos, it is just amazing. I mean, you will ask her questions about an athlete. She has no idea what their name is, what sport they play, what team they're on. And she just says the first thing that comes into her mind. And silliness like always ensues when your mom makes an appearance. And it's so wholesome and entertaining. What does it mean to have your mom's support for who you are and what you do?
No, I'm gonna cry. I love my mom so much. My famously straight mother. She is just, has always been my biggest fan. My dad too. You know, when I came out, didn't miss a beat, never did, you know. Like, I was doing these videos, these Is She Gay videos, and my mom, like, I thought it'd be funny during Pride Month to have her do Is She Gay videos with like famously just like gay people, like Haley Kiyoko. And she's like, we all know that she's gay, but my mom doesn't know or whatever. And then she just wanted to do it all the time. And it would get to a point where we'd be on the street. My mom would point at somebody's purse and be like, that's a gay bag. And I'd be like, Mom, actually, like, you can't do that, like, in person. But it's great. Like, she is the biggest ally of all time. I have a video on my page where she goes to Pride with me. It's so sweet. Like, she texted me once and was like, I got a straight Pride pin. I said, what's that? I don't know that I know what a straight Pride pin. It was the ally flag that she got in a pin, but she was told it was straight pride. And so she was really excited because she was like, I got my straight flag. And she tells everybody, you know, when I go around my town, my very small town my parents live, I'm recognized a lot, not because people organically scroll and see my feed, but because my mom shows every single waiter at any restaurant my videos on her phone. Like, she'll be like, watch this, and she'll show her videos too. And it is the biggest blessing in the world to have, and I understand what a great gift it is to have a parent who is so not like accepting of my queerness. I think that's like the bar is so low, but like so excited and so like willing to participate and not ashamed and wants to talk about it online. You know, there's so many things that if you would have told me at 12 that my mom was doing all that, I would have been mind blown, you know, because I was so nervous for no reason. And so it's just the best. I don't know. I can't even put it into words.
Oh, I'm like, my face hurts so bad for smiling. There's a lot of ugliness happening in the world, but your content really oozes positivity and hope, even when the subjects are tough and hard. You've said in your videos that little Jackie would be proud of you for being an uplifting voice for the LGBTQ plus community and creating a platform based around inclusivity. I am so thankful that there are people out there like you that make it their goal to spread positive messages. What keeps you positive? Like, what makes you feel hopeful for the future of women's sports?
Oh, I think like what I was just talking about with my mom is like a great example of what keeps me positive. Like, there was a time in my life where I felt like if I shared who I was, it would make my life worse. And now I am exactly who I am, and it's only made my life better. And I'm achieving things, and I'm having this I'm having a conversation with you right now. If you would tell little Jackie that, she wouldn't believe, like, that's insane. My own journey gives me hope for the rest of everything. Like, that is how I can, you know, come about being in this place. Like, I want to share that. I want to share that kind of hope. I think that it is so hard to be hopeful right now. It's so bad in the world. But there's small wins, and in your local community, there is, you know, so much to be found that can give you hope. That's it. Hope.
If your legacy is spreading hope, how would you feel about that?
I'd feel great. And then I want my legacy also be that I'm super smart, funny, and hot. So that would be like, add that in, and then hope to, we're good.
Jackie, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for making the time to be here. Where can our listeners find you?
Yeah, you can look up Coach Jackie J on any social platform, and I'll be there. TikTok, Instagram.
We like to end the show by asking our guests, what are you currently nerding out on? It can be a piece of art, genre of media, book series, anything that's really piqued your interest. Right now, what's got you nerding out?
Well, I want to hear what your answer is to this too. But mine right now is Audrey Hobert just released a new album that I'm obsessed with. It's called Who's the Clown? I think it's the album of the year, pop album of the year for sure. I love clever, fun pop music. And I have to have two answers because I'm obsessed with consuming media. I'm watching Scandal for the first time in my life.
First time.
And it has
What do you think?
It has taken over my brain. Like, I actually dreamt about Scandal last night. Like, it is so, as you know, I'm a West Wing girl. And so I'm like, this is like scratching the West Wing itch. And then also the Shonda of it all. It is so good. I'm obsessed with it. Bring back a mid-season finale. Why don't you? Like, I love a mid-season finale. Yeah, I'm obsessed. Yeah. You've seen it,
riveting.
Obviously.
Oh, yes. It's riveting. It was one of those where you're like, I absolutely am going to stay up to 3 a.m. and watch more episodes of this.
That's the issue right now.
Yeah. I'm nerding out on a video game, and it's one of those, like, I love getting 100% completion on video games. And sometimes it's near impossible because video games have gotten very complex with their storylines. And so I complete the game and get this like kind of crappy ending where the character that I play doesn't really do what he wanted to do the entire time. I'm like, this can't be the ending. And so I start doing a little research, realize there are multiple endings, and I didn't do what I needed to do throughout the entire game to get the good ending. So I'm kind of like, do I need to replay this entire game in order to get the good ending? And I'm kind of thinking like, yeah, I probably will have to play this entire game again.
What's the game called?
9 Souls.
Okay. I'll look it up.
Are you a gamer?
Imagine if I was, that'd be so powerful. I'm not, but in many ways, I have a Switch. So I don't know if that's like a good enough gaming device to be a gamer.
It's my all-time favorite.
Okay,
yes,
period.
You can say you're a gamer for sure.
I've played a couple indie games, but not that much. So maybe I'll check it out. If you have any starter games, I would love to know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll give you some recs.
Okay.
Jackie, thank you so much. You're truly amazing, and I get a lot of hope from getting to talk to you.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Yay! And that, my nerdy friends, was Coach Jackie J. Not technically a coach in her own words, but for sure a public figure, teaching us what it means to be an activist through her voice and platform. The first time I saw one of her Is She Gay or Does She Just Coach Women's Sports videos, I was so impressed with how she was just subverting gender stereotypes in a humorous way and strategically in a format that reaches so many ears. She's brilliant and funny, and I hope you leave this podcast with a feeling of hope and with a renewed motivation to keep women's sports welcoming and inclusive to all people. She's a force and one for good. She was also one of the first guests to ask me what I was nerding out on, and I did not hold back. 9 Souls, the Metroidvania game that is taking up a lot of hours of my life. But you know what? Any time you spend on a hobby is a time well spent. Let us know what you're nerding out about right now. Email us at teamingup@meninblazers.com and join our nerd squad. Our quirky community is growing, and we're so glad to have you along for the journey. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back with more next week.